Hi guys, this is the Audiofool, and for today, we're going to review the Dali Rubicon 2 speakers. I find the sound signature of Dali to be quite interesting. It has an addicting rhythm, probably because of the soft magnetic compound technology that makes it sound ultra clear and silky smooth. The sensors had great mid-range but was a bit too pricey for its class, and the Opticons were very engaging except that it just needed a little bit of excitement. Well, we're almost near the top, so the Rubicon should be near perfect. So let's compare these to the KEF LS50s and the Tekton impact monitors. But before that, let's take a closer look. I'm a bit jaded now since this is my third Dali and they all start to look alike to me. But most of those who see this like the look, classy and elegant and quite well built. 6.5-inch wood fiber woofer and slightly larger than usual 29mm soft dome tweeter in front. Nicely veneered and no complaints for me in this area. At the back, a huge port and still no bi-amping allowed, at least until you get to the Epicon range. The big whopper though is $3,000 but more reasonable in Europe at around 1,600 pounds. First, we compared to the KEF LS50s using the Ragnarok and Yggdrasil. For my ears, I like the Rubicon 2 better in all my test tracks, although some people might still prefer the vocals of the LS50s, which are a bit more forward and slightly fuller in tone. But at the same time, also sounds a little bit compressed and not as natural in comparison. The Rubicons might be slightly leaner, but the highs have more clarity in detail without actually being too aggressive. Soundstage is also much more deeper and slightly taller, wider in the Rubicons. The bass also goes lower and have more textures, but it's slightly tighter in the LS50s. The LS50s are still king of vocals, but at the cost of sounding a bit compressed. The Dalis kick butt and everything else, and it should, since it's more than twice the price of the LS50s. And as usual, it's not twice the performance, but it might be worth the extra, especially if the vocals sound better in the Rubicons for you. Next, we put it up against the Tekton Impact Spiders using the Shit A gear. The larger Tectons have more bass extension and have more definition at the lower end, as you would expect. So there's no contest down below, but starting around the 50Hz area up, the Dalis start to become more competitive and have tight, satisfying bass. The Tectons still do have the upper hand going up the mid-range, having a thicker, fuller sound, but it can sound compressed if directly compared to the Dalis. The Dalis sound leaner, but they also sound a little bit more nimble and airier in some vocals. Then up top, the Dalis turn it around and dominate the highs, making the Tectons sound veiled in comparison. The Dalis have a sharper bite, brilliance, and sparkle. Soundstage and separation are still better in the Tectons, being wider and deeper, but the clarity of the Dalis are in a different league, and you have that effortless rhythm that's quite magnetic. The Tectons are fantastic speakers, but the Rubicons just makes me want to squeeze a little bit more performance out of them. Despite having that great mid-range, the Rubicons still tempt me with their extra bite and that Dali rhythm, which I really like. In the end though, I still think that the Tectons offer better value, having good bass, great mids, and decent highs. But I have to tell you that I do like listening to the Rubicons more. What I like the most about the Rubicon 2s is that Dali rhythm. It sounds very effortless, very organic, very engaging, with lots of details in each note and everything in between. I also like that they improved on the highs and made it a bit more exciting, which was my main complaint with the Opticon 2s. And of course, the extreme clarity that this speaker provides. What I don't like about the Rubicon 2 is the bass, which can't do 41 Hz with good volume in my room. Of course, that's probably the norm with speakers half the size of the Tectons. Because the Rubicons actually do make great bass above 50 Hz, they have a good balance between tightness and decay. But still, in some orchestra pieces that I listen to, I feel that it's kind of feels lacking, especially if it was followed by the Tectons. So maybe you still need to get a good sealed kilowatt sub to complete the package. What I hate about the Rubicon 2s is the price and availability. The price is actually okay in the UK and Europe, but in the US it seems a bit unfair, especially since you're gonna get the Tekton impact monitors for $2,000, which I mentioned would be better value overall. But also, as I mentioned, I like listening to the Rubicon 2s more, and that one day I do hope to have Epicons. But price wise, it seems to be a stretch in the US, so I've been audibled. It's almost the perfect speaker that you can almost have. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, just write them down below. See you in the next video.